Hey everybody, Dr. Bill Diamond back for part two of supporting our frontline workers, what we know so far. If you didn't catch the first video, we talked a lot about providing different tiers of coaching for our frontline workers, just to give them some of the tools of resiliency and some of the life balance and other burnout techniques that could be helpful to them. Today, we're going to talk about other forms of conversations. And I want to just address right up front just the sense that many people have. What good does it do to talk about how you're feeling if you still have to go back and do the same thing? Well, a lot of people feel that way, but the research by Matthew Lieberman out of UCLA should put to rest this idea that talking about how we feel and labeling those things doesn't make a difference. He looked at brain scans of those in one group who just didn't talk about how they were doing, didn't label them, et cetera, and those who did. Now, the amygdala is that part of the brain. And by the way, the word amygdala sounds pretty fancy. It's just the Latin word for almond. It's an almond shaped part of the brain that is kind of the canary in the coal mine. It tells the rest of the body whether or not it should freak out. Well, he compared brain scans between the two groups. And guess what? Those who labeled and talked about how they're feeling, their amygdala regions were much calmer. Those who just kind of stuffed it and said it didn't matter, it won't change anything, that area was lit up like a Christmas tree. So, how has this worked over the last number of months since the pandemic began? I just reviewed the places I have been, and a lion's share of this has been done virtually in the form of virtual conversations, not to hear any wisdom I have, but to encourage nursing and other healthcare teams to hear from each other. And it has had a tremendous impact. We do it periodically with critically impacted teams. It tends to lower stress. It does a lot for them to hear the experience of each other. Some carefully chosen, facilitated questions make all the difference in the world. We've also done that by going out to COVID units and other places where they've had an incident or they're really stressed. And then, as in today, I have an opportunity to have people sign up for virtual conversations one on one, not therapy, but getting people ready and pointed in the right direction, reminding them of the resources they have, including therapy, and getting them focused on what they might do for their own self care. So I hope after this, we don't let anybody tell us that it doesn't do any good to have a conversation or to do a one on one or to have some kind of on site event. I want to leave you with a story. Remember being a child where you had that big test that was facing you the next day? Maybe like me, you had that bully waiting for you. They said, I'm going to get you tomorrow. And maybe you've had a heartbreak. You know that it mattered to talk to somebody about one of these three things. You still had the test the next day, but you felt better about your preparation. Emotionally, you were in a better spot. You had that bully to face and you felt empowered and maybe even more courageous. And you still had to see that person that you were no longer with, maybe at school. Your heart was still broken, but it made a difference. So don't let anybody tell you at work or during this pandemic or even in your personal life that it doesn't make a difference to process how you're doing. It can make all the difference in the world inside and also how you function at work. Well, this is Dr. Bill Diamond. We hope you join us for the next installment of this series about how to support our frontline workers. We'll see you soon.